Hi, Ray. You're on mute.
This is Steve.
Can't hear you.
I said this is, oh, hold on a second.
Bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, no, I got it. Can you hear me now?
Well,
No? Huh, hold on.
did you join with computer audio?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I still can't hear you.
Let me try again.
Is your button on the bottom left muted? Where it has the
Yeah, I mean,
microphone?
can you hear me any better?
Can't hear a thing. Oh.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it was my fault. I had my computer on mute.
Oh.
So it was
Okay,
me
well,
all along.
thanks, Susie.
Yeah.
Hello, folks. Hey, Martha.
Hey,
Hey,
Hi, Steve.
John.
Hi.
I see Tom trying to connect over there. And Jimmy's library is there.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, John.
Greetings. Sue Babavec is on.
The what?
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
working on it.
We hear you now.
Hi, Miss Sue. Hello there. How are you, Martha? Hi, John. Hi, Susie.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
Hi, Jimmy. Hi.
Hi, Jimmy.
Brian.
Hello, Brian.
Tom. Oh, there's Tom. There's Brian.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, hey. You got me?
Yes.
Okay.
Jane.
Hello.
Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Jane.
Hello, Steve. Everybody.
Hey, Jane.
Yes.
Jane.
Yes.
After we finish this, would you remain on the line with me? So
Okay.
you can set a date?
All right.
Let's see. Hey,
Hi, Wendy.
Wendy.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Wendy.
Douglas?
Hi.
Douglas, is Fairbury where the grave diggers don't charge too much?
They're out of work right now. We haven't had anything.
Oh, yeah. I've had 4 deaths since Val left.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Like, oh.
Wait, let me know who they
And
are.
none of them are COVID, you know, it's just other stuff. Hi, Margaret.
Hello, Jimmy. I need to know who those people are.
Well,
No, tell me now. I'll forget.
we'll go through it. I'm sure Stephen will go through it all.
Yeah.
We'll
we
try.
will.
It is about, well, it's a little past 1 minute. We'll give it a couple more minutes.
Ooh, I like your hat.
Who, me?
Yeah.
University of Washington, yes. Someone asked me if that was the University of Wisconsin or Wyoming.
Or Washington.
Hello.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
Karen,
Always trying to find the right link. Doggone it.
You're just 2 minutes late, Karen. Just 2 minutes.
Sorting through all the email and finding the right one with the right link.
No, I almost went to the session meeting next, or the Presbyterian meeting next.
Okay, let's see. Is Dwayne Westing on the call yet? I've got I minimized, so I look at the
I've seen it.
registered list. Is Dwayne there? No?
Pastor, somebody.
Okay. That's Karen.
Karen.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Carl.
Someone else is coming. There's Carl. Right in the nick of time. Let's begin with a word of prayer. Loving God, the days seem to go on and on of nothing normal and everything new. Give us your peace and your patience and your grace to work through it all, to think creatively and outside the box while we try to care for others in ways that we're not familiar with. And be with these church leaders and pastors that they may care for their flocks in ways that are new and creative and not done this way before. We thank you for this community and Homestead Presbytery and our ability to gather this way and share ideas and concerns and help us to do this in your name for your ministry here in Nebraska. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. All right. Welcome, everybody. Everybody good? We'll do some, who is that? I think that was Karen that just disappeared. Anyways, let's just do introductions again around, and I'm using my circle. I don't know what it looks like on your screen, but I'm going to start with Susie up in my left corner.
Hi, I'm Susie Harder. I'm a representative from Southern Heights Presbyterian Church. I'm also a retired nurse, former infection control nurse, as a matter of fact, long time ago.
And you haven't been called back into active duty?
No, I don't. I'm not currently licensed, so don't ask me
Okay.
for medical advice. I can give you general information, but not medical advice.
All right. Thanks. Jimmy.
Jimmy, you're on mute.
Yeah, find
Okay,
your unmute
Jimmy-
buttons, everybody.
Jimmy,
Find your mute.
Jimmy at Westminster. That's enough.
Okay. How's it going at Westminster?
Oh, other than the fact that I've had 4 deaths in a week, and we're going to do a memorial service in a living room with 8 people, and I'll play the guitar, and we'll sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth" with the family, and "Oh, Precious Lord, Take My Hand," and they'll reminisce, and then a few days after that, the ashes will be in our columbarium here at Westminster. But I mean, that's just one of the ways that, I mean, you have to cope with these things somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
Somehow.
You do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anything else at this point? You're good. Okay, John Dooling.
Hi, John Billing, honorably retired, part-time pastor visitation at Eastridge Spiritual Direction.
How are things at Eastminster? I mean, Eastridge, sorry.
Eastridge, yeah. We're discovering the whole technology of Zoom and live streaming that they hadn't done until this crisis hit. And it's been rather adventurous that we're seeing with things going on. I'm sort of on the fringe as just sort of a part-time employee, but Thomas and Melody are really carrying on the mantle as best they can in the situation we're in.
John, when you speak, you need to speak up a little bit.
Okay, things are going well. We're just adjusting to the technology. Thomas and Virginia and Melody are, I think, on the cutting edge and keeping things technologically well. We have a tech person that has really stepped up and made it possible to live stream and do live worship on Facebook, and our Zoom Bible studies have been going very well.
Great, great. Thanks, John. Martha.
Hi, Pastor Martha Niobrara. Things are going just like it's going for all y'all. I don't live stream, however. That makes me way too nervous. But at 6:54 on Easter morning, I will do a live stream of the sunrise, as I have a reading that will go with it, and my husband will just film the sun rising, and they'll just hear the voice and the words of the reading. And that's how we're going to do things.
Great. And are people sticking together up there in Niobrara, the Presbyterians and the Lutherans?
Always playing nice together.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yep.
Martha. Anything else? Good. Okay. Doug?
Douglas Heilman of Fairbury. We're doing as well as we can be doing. Things seem to be pretty smooth with us at the moment.
Okay. No big issues or anything?
No, none that we come up with.
Okay, Great. Sue?
Good afternoon. I'm Sue Babavec. I am retired chair of the disaster committee, and Susie didn't claim that as well, but she and Diane Fryendall Smith have just written our Presbytery disaster plan, which will be coming to Presbytery for review and approval. I just ordered groceries for the first time online. Can pick them up Monday at 7 a.m. That's the first available, but that's fine. I've got plenty of stuff till then. And I have a sewing machine. So you'll see me not having good eye contact. I am stitching the last of the face masks that I've made for several friends here at the villa.
Great. Great. Thanks, Sue. Brian?
Yeah, hello, Brian Johnson from Norfolk Presbyterian Church. And yeah, we've been doing okay. We've also had a funeral in this time, and well, it ended up just being a viewing, and it'll be a memorial service later. That's how we're dealing with it right now. And in terms of our worship, we've been offering on Facebook recorded sermons that we were doing here. This week, for Holy Week, we'll have a musical video from our organist and my wife, and they'll be putting that on tonight, and then we'll be getting her up here so that'll be a sermon virtual communion.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. Tom? Tom Osborne. Unmute.
Okay, there you go. We're still down here in Nebraska City. We're doing as well as we can. We've been keeping connected with people via Facebook and emails and phone calls. On Sunday, being Palm Sunday, we did something we didn't know how it was going to work, but instead of the kids coming to church and getting the palms, we took palms around town to their homes. And then the kids would go out in the yard and wave their palms around. Took a number of pictures and put that on our Facebook page. And people really, really enjoyed that, appreciated that. I have some folks down here making masks. I don't know if you can see this one or not, but they've made this one for me since my name was Tom Osborne. They thought I should have a Husker mask.
That's great.
Now we're doing fine.
Good, good. Jane?
Jane Holtzclaw, Parish Associate at First Press in Lincoln. We're doing fine, continuing with recorded worship on Thursday. For Monday, Thursday, we're doing a live Tenebrae service. We've been doing Zoom Bible studies and a weekly Facebook live prayer service, short prayer service, Wednesday evenings. Continuing to have a team of volunteers. We're continuing to call, all the members, hopefully on a weekly basis, sending cards as well. In terms of other activities, we're a distribution site for the food pantry, and we've continued to do that. They've set it up so that the food pantry people basically, they package all the food, and then the people come in, drive through the parking lot and pick their packages up, so they're not actually needing to come into the church. And then we're continuing to host the AA meetings in town. We have 4 meetings at 4 different meeting times throughout the week, and that's continuing to go well. So we're doing okay.
Good.
And
Good,
doing
good.
some communion, and that's been working out well as well.
How?
By Zoom, virtual communion.
Okay.
Been doing that every Sunday. That's been working out well.
Great. Good. Okay. Kathleen? Kathleen, Kathleen.
Now, how about that?
Yes. Yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
All right. We had a funeral Monday, a visitation on Sunday. Just was supposed to be just family, and at the cemetery it wasn't just family, but of course people could spread out there. But it was still a small group, more than it would have been. It is so hard to not hug when there's a death. It's really hard to know how to fill up that need. But one of the awesome things that happened is one of our church members, who's a good friend of the spouse of the deceased, organized a drive-by visitation. And we had people from one end of town to the other and back again that drove by their house. And all the family was out in front, and fortunately it was good weather. And that was very meaningful to them. So that was kind of their visitation of the public. I've been just doing a video worship, pre-recorded and put it on Facebook and YouTube, and sending out a weekly pastoral letter. And I'm going to do the same thing for Thursday and Friday and Sunday. And we're going to do communion on the Sunday one. And I've just told people to have their elements at home, and that I will be practicing it at the worship times that we have, and they can join us, or they can have it anytime, because God's outside of time anyway, so that's okay. On Sunday morning, we took poems around to a lot of the members, all of the families, and a lot of the other members too. And I guess that's about it. We still have the food pantry going too. That's in our building here. And we haven't had too many people, but we've had a few come. And that call I got just as we were starting was a woman bringing money for the food pantry. So I've been meeting people outside my office and just standing 6 feet away from them and visiting as they come. So that's about it.
Okay, and Kathleen, you're taking notes for us again, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Great notes. All right, Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy Waite from Gresham, and we are doing fine out here. We are planning on a drive-in service on Sunday morning up at our community center. So hopefully that will go well. We're telling everyone they need to stay in their vehicle, and we'll have a loudspeaker so that everyone should be able to hear. So it's good to hear what everybody else is doing, and knowing that we are still out there glorifying God. Can't stop that.
Right, right. Okay, Margaret.
There, I got the mute button. We're still trying to get everybody up and on Zoom or some other function. So our administrative and policy committee is taking the lead on that. But we are having our first session meeting on Zoom this month. And fortunately, one of the elders is an expert on Zoom, and he's allowing us to use his account, and he's going to take over the Zoom process. So I'm lucky. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Margaret Scroot. I'm clerk of session at Westminster. And we're going to try to get, I think only 1 or 2 committees have met because of the lack of Zoom or other capabilities. So we're going to try to get all of that under control here quickly. So that's where I've been spending a lot of my time recently. I guess that's it. We're also going to do virtual communion. Jimmy didn't tell you, but that's been his. And Jimmy, you should tell them about the ringing of the bells.
Right. If you haven't already heard, I've been contacting Nancy Levitt is a member of our handbell choir, and on Saturday she emailed me and said, why don't all the churches ring their bells at noon? Since we can't have service, let's ring our bells. If you have a bell, not all churches do, but if you have a bell, ring your bells at noon for 5 minutes. And so I've been trying to I contacted several Methodists, and they said that they would pass it along. I contacted the Nebraska UCC conference, and they're going to pass it along. I still need to make a contact with some Episcopalians, but And I've contacted some ELCA pastors, and they're going to pass it along. So we're hoping that at least in Lincoln, no matter where you are at noon, you're going to hear church bells because they'll be ringing all over the city. And I would hope that throughout the presbytery, if you have a bell, send somebody down to pull the rope or push the button or however it is that you do that. And let's have bells ringing at noon.
Is that on Easter, Jimmy?
Easter, right?
Is it just Lincoln that's doing it, Jimmy, or is it?
No, I would encourage anyone to do it. Okay. Nancy's idea was Lincoln, but I don't. We can't confine this to Lincoln. But right. I've made my contacts mostly within Lincoln, although my contact with the Nebraska UCC is statewide, and I think some of my Methodist contacts will go beyond Lincoln too. So, I tried to do that. I spent a good share of my Monday morning trying to make contacts so that we could get bells going on Easter Sunday.
Great.
I have failed to make any Episcopal contacts yet, but
okay.
I will work on that.
One other comment, if I could.
Yeah.
One other comment. Whoever it was who suggested to me, the folks who went to the parking lot of or the home of the departing pastor put a real idea into my head. So I immediately put the note out to all the deacons and elders of our church. And when Pastor Val arrived at the church to record her last service
Virtually
on Saturday morning, our parking lot was full of cars. And so she pulled in with honking and waving and signs up, and it really caught her unaware, and she was very, very moved by it. So I thank whoever it was who planted that seed in my head.
Great.
Yeah, although let me just add real quickly that all the cars had a vacant space in between them.
Yeah, we were very careful.
Right, Margaret? Yeah, right. Nobody.
We said they had to
parked.
stay in their cars, and they had to stay one spot apart for 6 feet. So.
But it was splendid, Margaret. Yes, thank you for coming up with that.
Great ideas. Okay, Dennis.
Hi there, Dennis here. I'm having fun watching what former colleagues in other presbyteries are doing. And the most memorable is a colleague up in Vermont who sits on his front porch in the morning and delivers a 3 to 5 minute meditation. They're very good, basing it on whatever comes into his email box, maybe a little Richard Rohr, thing to ponder. It's a very interesting thing, very well done. So other than that, I'm doing fine.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi Wallace, First Presbyterian in Lyons. We have been doing worship via Zoom on Sunday mornings. This week, we're going to be changing it up a bit. As long as the guidelines remain, 10 people or fewer, 4 of my colleagues and I are doing Holy Week together. So we will be doing that via Facebook Live from our various locations. Each city we serve is represented over the 4 services, because we're doing Easter Vigil as well. And my colleague who's hosting Good Friday was able to get sponsored that we will be on the radio that night as well. So my people that don't have computer or smartphone will be able to hear that service. So hopefully it all works out. It's stretching me to learn yet another piece of technology, but we'll see how it goes.
I was saying, Heidi, I think that learning new technology as it goes for me is learning it for the new normal.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Carl.
Okay, hi everybody. You know, I appreciate what everybody's doing in your places of call and work. It's inspiring to hear. And I guess what I would offer is just the advice of everybody take care of yourselves. Do what you can, what you need in terms of getting out, walking, you know, sunshine, whatever it is that works for you. Recently got an email from the Ross Theater in Lincoln, and they have their films available so that you can watch them online. Cost you 12 or 15 bucks. Watched a film last weekend called The Etruscan Smile. Jimmy had a crusty old Scotsman in the film, and a really great escape for 2 hours, and entertaining, thoughtful, a good film. So you can go online to the Ross. You can watch it on your computer, a couple hours long, 12, 15 bucks, and it's worth it. So do what you can to take care of yourself.
Did they do that all before, Carl, or that's new?
That's all new. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Owen.
Hi, everyone. This is Owen Derrick from Yakima, First Presbyterian. It's great to hear what everyone's doing. We're doing much the same as most people are doing. We're videoing and recording services and making them available on Facebook and via a link if people don't have Facebook. After I'm finished here, I'm going to go in and record the Monday, Thursday service and the Good Friday service. And I was a few minutes late coming on to this meeting because I was just on another Zoom meeting with all of some of the kids in our youth group. We're doing a Zoom conference with them just to keep connected with them and to see how they were all doing. So just keeping all the connections going. We're ringing the bells in town here, across the county, in fact, at 1 o'clock on Sunday, simply because we're so far behind Lincoln. But we're gonna ring the bells across the county, and then we're inviting people in the towns to come out onto their porch, and we've prepared some prayers, and we're encouraging people to do porch prayers during that 5-minute bell ring. If people want to pray their own prayers, they can. If they want to just come out and wave to their neighbours, they can do that too. But we're encouraging people to come out when they hear the church bells ring and join us in prayer. We're also encouraging the young people in town to decorate sand dough Easter eggs and hang them on the trees or hang them outside their homes. And probably beginning of next week, we're going to have a vehicular Easter egg hunt where people can drive around the town and see if they can spot the Easter eggs.
May I have a moment of personal privilege, Stephen?
I'll consider it. No, go ahead.
Owen, I haven't met you.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you doing?
I'm Jimmy. Let me show you something.
Oh.
I've got it. I'm ready to wipe out his camera.
Yeah, please do.
No.
Oh, bye.
Oh, no. You're not going to play those, are you?
No, I won't play them right now.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm. Where do you hail from?
Just outside Glasgow, town of Greenock.
Oh, do you know Albert Vogel?
Yes.
He's one of my best friends. I
Okay.
preached for him a month in 1982 when I was quite young, and he was too. And then we just kept up over the years. My wife and I have been back to Scotland 7 times since then, and we always get together with Albert and Martha. And
Well, we'll have to chat offline about that.
Yeah. We'll do that.
You guys need to have your own Zoom call, okay?
I just have to interject here. Jimmy, if you can play those bagpipes, I can do the Highland Fling or the sword dance.
Oh,
cool. My. Maybe we could do
I
this all
used to be able
virtually.
to. I don't know. Sorry.
That's great. Okay.
I will not be a part of that Zoom conference. Okay, I will not.
Okay. Okay.
I'm the Presbyterian's bagpiper.
What?
You're welcome to be.
All right.
Okay, you Scots need to tone it down here for a little bit.
Oh,
okay?
we can't.
All right, Zach, it's your turn.
I'm Zach, serving in Beatrice. We are recording a Monday, Thursday service. Well, I am recording a Monday, Thursday service. And then I have 4 families in the congregation recording parts of the Easter service. And I just got a text from one of them asking how to upload the video. So Easter service will be led by multiple families in our church, and I'll splice them all together and everything and put that together. We do have someone in our church who came up with the idea of yard signs to put out in everyone's yard from our church for Easter. So it sounds like they've been purchased. They're going to come in Friday, and then they're going to sneak around Saturday morning and put them in everyone's yard without them knowing it, I guess. So on sometime that weekend, everyone in our church is going to have a yard sign that says something about celebrate Easter, and then has First Presbyterian Church on it. So that I'm excited that is happening, and that it was not my idea, and that I'm not carrying it out. So I think that's a wonderful thing for our church to do. Otherwise, we're just kind of going along and trying to stay connected. And yeah, unless there's any questions, we're just moving along and putting up our services on YouTube for people to watch, and those have been well received.
Thank you, Zach. All right, I think Karen, you may be the last to go.
Oh, boy. Well, Owen, you and I will have to catch up on Scotland as well. I have some connections from my time in the Czech Republic. We did a lot with the church in Scotland. So I'm Karen Moritz, and I'm currently serving First Christian Church here in Lincoln, but a longtime Presbyterian. 33-year ordination on March 15th. It was the weirdest ordination anniversary I've ever had since we had no church. It's very, very strange. I recorded our Maundy, Thursday, and our Easter meditations yesterday. So we've been doing that. I can't remember who else said that live Facebook was too nerve-wracking. I'm like, it's bad enough to have to do a video in the first place. No live. That's not happening here. So we record them and put them on YouTube and on our church's Facebook page and on our website and all kinds of other stuff. So we've been doing that every week. We've been doing a written bulletin newsletter type thing we send out every week. We did our newsletter that we send out this week. We do it about twice a month. And I've been taking my class on disciples, history, and polity. I've made it through 5 out of 8 weeks. I only have 3 weeks to go. I'm so happy. So no downtime. And then I had 2 funerals in 2 weeks. And unfortunately, the graveside service was last Friday when it decided it had to snow in April. It was so cold out there. Oh my gosh. I couldn't talk any faster if I'd tried, I think. But we got them dispatched, hopefully with some reverence and celebration. But so that's been a bit, I think somebody else had said how hard it is to be with the grieving families and not be able to give them a hug and not be able to interact in a closer way. That has been really a big challenge. So it's been busy, but we're keep it on, and as everybody else has said, learning new techno skills that I'm thinking, hope we can find a way to maybe even use it beyond this in a way to connect on a different level. So I'm hoping that's the silver lining in some of this, is challenging our congregation to think outside the box a little more and how we can use that as we move forward. So
Great.
Karen?
Did you have your hand up, Susie? No, okay.
No, I was just adjusting my computer.
Okay.
And Sue Babovac, can you make more masks? I don't have any of those mask things. Can you make any more?
I can make some too.
I will tell you that as far as I'm concerned, scarves and rubber bands would be a whole lot easier. But
Okay, I have lots of pashmina, so I'll just use a pashmina.
Okay, really and truly, I think they work just well. I also read that if you want double protection, fold a coffee filter between your nose and the scarf.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. What new wear we're going to be wearing?
Yeah.
Okay, John Doolin, you have your hand up.
Yeah. My wife told me about a podcast that the U.S. Surgeon General made of taking a regular T-shirt or towel and folding it in half. Then bottom part, top part, then one more fold, bottom, top, and it becomes fourfold into half. Take two rubber bands, one on one side, one on the other side, flip one side from right to left and the other side from left to right, and then you got the two rubber bands that go over the ears, and you got the face mask. It's very simple. It's a podcast by the U.S. Surgeon General that you can find. You can do a Google on that. That's how I found the podcast. And it is very simple. You can take a face towel, or you can take a pillowcase even, or a T-shirt, cut it and get it folded in the right perspective.
Also a cloth handkerchief.
That exactly, a bandana or a handkerchief or whatever, any of those that can be multi-layered, and yet it's very, very simple, as simple as that piece of cloth and two rubber bands.
You know what I think a good project for us would be is each congregation take pictures of your different face masks of people in the congregation, if you can, people using different face masks, and we could have a fashion show at press streaming in May with all the different kind of face masks going on.
I wore
Anyways.
Yesterday I went to Hy-Vee, Day of the Geezer Hour at 7 a.m. And those that are at risk age-wise can go shopping, and everybody was wearing their mask. Looked like a bunch of bank robbers going in for something, going for it. It was crazy. But everybody, I was just totally amazed at how cordial everybody is. And everybody is very compassionate and helping each other and keeping one's distance, and I've been phenomenally impressed with the sense of neighborliness that I've been experiencing. You don't see it through the mask, but you sense the smile in every aisle.
Great. Do you see Wendy's mask down there? Wendy, put it back up. Oh, and Susie got one. Are those homemade? All right. All right, that's great. I want to ask a question, and it's kind of, I've heard it from several people. How are folks hanging in with your digital virtual worship services? What kind of comments are you getting? What kind of feedback? Is this something that can be maintained and sustained through 2 or 3 months?
Jimmy here. I'm not sure how long it can be sustained, but I had dozens of texts or emails about the last service. So, yeah.
In a positive way.
Positive, yes.
Okay, John?
At Eastridge, I've been noticing a little counter on the Facebook, and it's impressive how many are tuned in. And we're getting good good feedback from people through the Zoom Bible studies and such. And the feedback is very encouraging. As another of my colleagues has shared, this new technology is something that we hope we don't have to use too long for the few weeks that we hope are just minimal. But it's something that we can use now, I think, and grow into.
I would also like to say that one of the things I've had feedback from is we've called our congregation members, congregants, and also I've been just calling people that have been in my Bible study and in my book club, and just that connection and just calling, saying, how are you doing? Hi, I think that along with the technology, it's nice to be able to do that.
Great. Anybody else? What you're getting in feedback? Doug?
I think it's sustainable for us. I've had a lot of good feedback from it, but I have some folks who have the idea that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not putting out a daily message for folks. And I'm not so sure that's truly needed, but that's some sentiment that I'm hearing.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Well, I want for sharing my part. Last Palm Sunday, it was Friday before Palm Sunday, my mom in Washington State, my hometown congregation in Port Townsend, sent me the links to their Palm Sunday service. And I'd never thought about this before. I participated with the rest of that congregation. The congregation where I grew up in, was baptized in, and was sent into ministry, and be able to join them for Palm Sunday and a virtual waving of palm branches in their parking lot. It was just amazing to be able to have that kind of connection back with someplace, that I would never have thought of this before. They would never have done it before. So there are new things coming out of this. So let me check in on finances and how congregations are doing financially. And anybody that's applying for any of the loans through the CARES Act or Board of Pensions dues relief, or the PDA and PMA shared grants. Go, Kathleen?
Yeah, our clerk of session, well, no, she's not clerk anymore, but the one that's kind of taken charge of that, called the bank and they said we have to have a 501c3. Do we use that from the presbytery, or, because we don't have our own 501c3 number?
You don't?
She doesn't think so. And
call Cheryl. Call Cheryl.
Okay.
Yeah. That's right. Tom?
Yeah, we're in the process of applying for the CARES financial aid, and our local banker that we bank with seemed to be encouraging to us that we're in early and we've got all our ducks in a row. We're just going to have to sit back now and wait and see what happens.
Okay.
We don't think that we need Presbytery's permission, but I know with our meeting next week, we'll take care of that. So
yeah, if you read the material we sent out, all we ask for is notification prior to the application process being completed. Unless your congregation has bylaws that says the presbytery must approve any loan, then you have to come to the presbytery. And we'll be approving those. We would need to know all that by Monday, because there will be a called meeting of presbytery by Zoom on Tuesday to approve the Calvin Crest applying for the loan, because that's in their bylaws. They have to come to us. And any congregations who have that in their bylaws. So if you know of other congregations that are applying and they may have something like that in their bylaws, let them know they need to contact us quickly. The other thing that we finding out here in Lincoln, but I think it might be other areas of the state too, is that the big national banks are doing a far poor job on the paycheck, was it paycheck participation program? Anyways, our bank, Union Bank, is doing, I mean, they have, I think, 4 of us here in Lincoln that are already got applications in. Whereas, is it US Bank, I think, that said, you know, we don't have applications for you, when I think First approached them as their bank. So it's important to check your local lender. Anybody else applying or know their churches are applying?
Westminster, Union is great.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
We are going to apply. We just got to get it figured out.
There are people to help, Kathleen. I mean, Cheryl's far better than I am. I mean, really far better at it than I am. But I've been through enough webinars and Zoom meetings about all this that I can help a little. But yeah, call one of us. Anybody else? How about Board of Pension dues relief? Anybody applying for those? Any congregations?
I haven't heard my session say, but I'd be surprised if they don't. I think they probably will.
Okay.
My clerk of session contacted them yesterday and was encouraged to make the application. So we're going through that application with them just now.
For the Board of Pensions?
Yes.
Okay, make sure we get a written notification of that, because the Board of Pensions requires some coordination with the presbytery. They're not required as much for this, but we need to know that going in rather than late.
Okay.
Anybody else? Zach, are you all applying for Board of Pension dues relief?
Not that I'm aware of. I just talked to our secretary today, and we are doing fine financially, plus some savings and endowment. So we're moving forward, and most of our givers are continuing to give. So
that's great.
We're even talking about if there's a way that we can free up some money to help smaller churches who are hurting as well.
And I want to talk to you more about that, Zach. Okay. Later. What we're hearing also is, if congregations don't need the money, if you don't need it, don't apply for it, because it, 1, jams up the system if you're applying for it. 2, it makes it available for someone else who may need it. So that's kind of the word that's out there, is to only apply if you look in the congregation's finances, and this will be a big help to get you through to whatever is next. Okay. Carl brought up are you still there? Okay. About self-care and caring for yourself through all this. How are folks doing? You all, not your congregation, but you all. How are you caring for yourself and your family? John?
I'm taking walks around the neighborhood. About a mile and a half from Lincoln Christian School. I've been walking their football field track, but I saw that it was closed off. I think they're, like most of the public schools, any type of access seems to be discouraged. But I've been walking the neighborhoods and listening to podcasts or Pray As You Go, which is a app for spiritual reflection. They have daily readings. It's British, follows the Catholic lectionary, and it's one of the most reflective, positive apps that asks very directed questions in Lectio Divina style. And I find that very inspiring. And even YouVersion has had daily prayers that I think have been very good very focused prayers. YouVersion is a little more conservative theologically with what they share. Some of the things that they had, even for Easter week, have been very directed toward this COVID-19 and what that has caused in terms of worship, of course. But the reflections from YouVersion, from Pray As You Go, it's PAYG, that you might find it on the Google Play or the Play Store. But those are things. And then Kathy and I, we're coming up with a lot of creative things that we do in the kitchen with our Instant Pot, and that's been a lot of fun.
Good. Good. Okay. Who else? How are you taking care of yourself and your family? Someone else? Come on. Martha, how are y'all doing taking care? No words?
That's a really tough question. It has been easier when the days have had sunshine. The many days, day after day of overcast was becoming very difficult. So today, even though it's not as warm as it has been, the sky is blue and the sun is shining, and that helps. It's hard. Our son is up in South Dakota in Mitchell, and he goes to school up there, and he's also employed up there. And the guilt of him coming home here versus him stay up there alone, that's hard. And yeah, self-care, there's not a lot of it.
How can we help with that? For anybody, not just you, Martha, but for anybody. How can we help each other to take care of ourselves?
This is Susie, and just as I mentioned before, just making a phone call to somebody. I don't know, do the pastors call each other? I'm not familiar with how you communicate with one another, but maybe setting up a time each week that you call somebody, one or the other of them, and just regularly check in and pray with each other, something like that. I know I call my kids, they live in Texas and Illinois and Iowa, and I just kind of check in with them and sometimes FaceTime with my grandkids, which is awesome. I don't get to see them anyway, but I think making those phone calls it's good for me. And I think people, I don't know, what do you think, Martha? Would that be helpful to you if somebody would just regularly be there to talk with you?
So I'm a half-breed here, just like Heidi, where I am half Lutheran and half Presbyterian. And
that's okay. We don't hold that against you.
Thank you. And I will be honest with you, and I know this is being recorded, but I'm going to say it anyhow. I find much more camaraderie with my Lutheran pastors than I do with my Presbyterian pastors. When we gather, I don't know why we do, because nothing helpful comes out of it. We don't discuss things. I don't know what it's for. And I'm the one who travels the farthest. And so honestly, I don't meet with them often because I don't find the support there. And yeah, I'll take the blame for it. I don't feel the camaraderie with them. Maybe it's because I speak a different language. I don't know. Yeah.
Is that,
I know it's
Martha,
not a very good answer, and I apologize for that.
No apologies needed. Is that the covenant group, the cluster that you're talking about primarily?
Yeah, my cluster, the
Okay.
7 of us.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Someone else had their hand up. Jimmy?
I just want to say that Sue Babivek, in her role as COM liaison, has been great in this regard, and I thank her. And I would hope that the other members of COM would do as well as Sue has. But Sue is great, and when she calls, she prays, and I do feel supported.
Great.
Thank you.
Jane.
I would definitely say that. That is very true, Jimmy. Thank you for reminding me that Sue just called me last week or this week. I don't remember now, but it was wonderful to hear her voice and to have her pray with me, for me. Yeah, that was lovely. So if Sue is she's your person, she's going to take care of you. I have no doubt.
Thank you. Jane.
I was just going to say, you know, if it's something that anybody would feel would be helpful, I'd be willing to kind of, you know, organize some small group, you know, kind of discussion forums. You know, by small group, I'm meaning like, you know, 6 or 7, so you can really have a meaningful, you know, discussion and a chance to, you know, talk about specific issues and do some problem solving and, you know, in a small group discussion kind of format.
Cool. Anybody else? Ideas? How many of you have considered, are you going to be taking vacations during this time? Are you going to need pulpit supply, even if it's virtually or digitally? Tom?
Interesting that you brought that up. I was thinking about it while I was driving into work this morning. Because I think there are some people who kind of think like we're kind of on vacation now. There's not much going on at the church and just going in and sitting there.
And it's only Holy Week.
Not doing Sunday like normal, you know, and some people already kind of think we've got our vacation, and then should I feel guilty when I say, I know we haven't had church for a while, but I'd like to take a vacation, you know, in June. Whoops, no. So it's an interesting point, and I'm not really worried about, because I have wonderful session and people here who are very, very supportive in terms of vacation and so forth. In terms of care, I've found that my local ministerial association here in Nebraska City, since John was here, we've had a number of people who have left, and a bunch of us have come in together, and we're a really tight group. And we visit with each other and talk with each other. We're having Zoom meetings ourselves, just as a local ministerial. So that's been a big help. And I really appreciate that ecumenical gathering and sharing.
Okay, great. And we all know that taking that time away, that for me, I am busier throughout the day than I've been before. You know, with 4 to 5 Zoom meetings a day, and if I'll go crazy staring at computer screens for 2 months if that's going to be the way it is. So taking that time for yourself and your family away, even if away is to the garage or, you know, something like that. How do you do that? And I've talked to several folks on the pulpit supply list that are very willing to if you need to fill in for a week to record something or whatever, that folks are willing to do that. I'm willing to do that as well. I'm assuming I'm still preaching at Westminster, Jimmy, right?
Yes,
Yep.
we're going to record you on the 25th of
Right.
April. Yes, for what will be posted for the 26th.
Great.
Right.
So think about some of those, and our next forum, I'm hoping to we can spend more time talking about supporting one another and taking care of ourselves so that we can lead the congregations that we're serving. Tom, I see your fingers.
I was still wondering if we have any better sense about being able to do communion. And I think last week we talked that Ray was going to do some research about whether we can go ahead, and I just wonder if we've learned anything more about that.
Yeah, there are resources for on the second. The state clerk came out with one approach first and then kind of swiftly changed it within 2 days. That document giving guidance about how to do communion during a pandemic or national crisis is on our website as well as the PCUSA webpage. So if you need help finding it, we've got there are a lot of worship resources and guidance on different ways to do communion during this time. In fact, I think I saw a webinar from the PCUSA with David Gambrell, who's the theology staff person in Louisville, leading that for congregations. So a multitude of those things are available on primarily on the PCUSA webpage. I've got a couple questions before we end here. One is everybody remembers that we have a called presbytery meeting on Tuesday that we're going to do by Zoom. Jess is getting ready to send out the registrations. We're figuring all this out. And Ray is very busy trying to figure it out, not only this meeting, but the council and the presbytery meetings. We approach those to do virtually. And Ray has pleaded with us if we can find a Zoom guru that can help Ray and myself and Jess with facilitating these meetings. And I heard Westminster had one. Are you willing to share?
I can ask him. It's someone who does it in his course of business, but I will ask him.
Yeah, we're not talking for every meeting, just the big ones where this is new for us to try to figure out. So if he doesn't have time, that's cool. We can find someone else. But if anybody else knows some Zoom gurus out there. Well, listen, keep your ears to the ground. We need it by Monday. No, we think we got the one on Monday, but it's the presbytery meeting that there's some trepidation about doing that big a meeting by Zoom, but we'll get it. We'll get it. Second thing is just a prayer concern. Stephen Niles was taken to the hospital last night. Steve Niles at New Zion. He came out of the hospital last night as well, but was diagnosed with having a mini stroke. He's recuperating at home. Doctors don't think there's any kind of permanent damage. I talked to him last night, and he seems to be in good spirits. And he says the congregation's going right along. He said, "They didn't wait for me." So keep Steve and the New Zion congregation in your prayers. Are there other prayer concerns to share?
Just let me know. I've known Stephen since I was 18. He was a classmate at Hastings College with me.
Yeah.
So long relationship.
Stephen, it just feels like we've got a lot of pastoral care needs here in Laurel right now. We've got one family that's got several members who have cancer. One of them is not the older one of the family that does, but he is not doing well at all. This is, I don't know how many times he's had cancer and come through it, but this is not the first. And he's been on some experimental treatments because that's what he has to have. That's all they've got. It's not looking real good for him right now. I fortunately, God put me together with his wife on the street yesterday, and we had a chance to visit, but that's real hard. And then also, of course, this death of one of our session members' spouses. And it just feels like there's a lot of, well, we got 4 members in care center that we can't go visit. And one of those is of that family. So another one that just lives up the street here, that her husband's in the care center. And so it just feels like there's a lot of pastoral care need more than normal right now.
Yeah, that's in some ways not unexpected. That when a crisis or this level of anxiety rises, it lends itself to lots of different things, is what I think most folks that are involved in crisis management, that kind of thing. Other prayer concerns?
Yes, if we could keep praying for particularly for our retired clergy in our presbytery. Jim Gopal's one I'm aware of, but so many of them are in care centers and retirement facilities and they can't leave. He had to go to the hospital for a few hours last week, so he's been confined to his apartment for an entire week. And so I know he and probably a lot of people are going a little stir crazy. So, you know, if we could just lift them, especially people in the senior care centers and stuff, because their movements are really limited and they can have visitors. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Sue, did you want to share about in phone calls and what you're all doing?
I think I shared last week, but thank you for asking. The disaster team has divided up all of the churches, and they are contacting either the church pastor or the clerk of session weekly, and they're all doing their own variation of how they're doing it, but they're bringing their own good personalities into it. And then if they have some creative ideas of things being done, they're sharing them, and we're disseminating them back out to the rest of the committees so that they can share them with the churches. So trying to keep communications going, getting creative with it. You know, many of our smaller churches may not even have anybody in the church right now to answer the phone. So they're sending letters to them because they figure somebody's picking up the mail somewhere. So they're tracking down what they can for contacts.
Great. Okay. I am also making calls to all the pastors and commission pastors in the presbytery. I did 5 last week. I've done 5 this week, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get through our list. But it's been really meaningful for me to talk with you all out there and hear what's going on. So, anything else to share before we close for today? So I want to share one more idea. I was on a call with all the execs in Cinema Lakes and Prairies this morning. And there's one pressure, the exec is doing a Holy Week happy hour, and that they're going to continue it for pastors. They're going to continue it on. So everybody brings a drink of their choice onto a Zoom meeting, and that turns into a happy hour party. We may try that. I don't know. So anyways, is there someone willing to close us with prayer? Martha, would you be willing to close us in prayer?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good and gracious God, I am thankful for these sons and daughters of yours that are here in these very strange times, preaching the good news, not only the good news of your love, but of the resurrection of your Son, our Savior. Be with all of us and those of us who could not be on this meeting today. Let them feel your presence, and even though our streaming and our recording may have bloopers and blunders, to know that all of it is in your name, and you are having a wonderful time laughing along with us as we make our way through all of this unnormal situations. Give us the peace, the strength, the energy to go and be the children that you have called us to be. And all God's children say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Sue, can you hang on for just a minute? As people, okay? And we'll see y'all.
Bye.
Watching these disappearing faces. Okay, Sue, there is no disaster team meeting tonight, right? Okay. Do you have time later? Are you going to be around that time? You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
I have another commitment at that time. I am around, but I won't be available.
Okay. Are you available earlier than that?
I could be from about 4:45 to 5:15.
Okay. I just need to call and check in with you on a couple things.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Jane.
Mask, Sue.
What?
I just saying I liked your mask.
My what? My
No,
oh, my mask back there. You can see some of them.
Her mask, yeah.
Yeah, they're not. I've got a whole shelf of them right here. This one.
Oh.
These are my favorite one. I can find it. They're starting to come out of boxes. I don't know. Oh, this is another favorite.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
And these are original masks. I mean, they're not made for show.
Yeah, the real deal.
Yeah. So anyways, have you done much thinking on how we might look at doing something peer ministry? I mean, virtually during this time? I mean,
You know, the one idea is to, create some small discussion groups. Were you at the Wednesday lunch? Yeah, I think you were when we were talking a little bit about that.
yeah.
Yeah. With a specific focus to it. So it's not just a gripe session, but
Right.
really an opportunity to discuss, a specific issue that somebody has and get some group feedback from it.
That would be good or not good?
No, I think it would be good.
Yeah, I do too. I think so. Martha hit the nail on the head in terms of the covenant groups, the clusters. They're good fellowship, and that kind of, but they're not doing kind of that heavy lifting of supporting one another and helping and being mentoring and guiding one another.
So if you had a group of 6 or 7, 8 would be a max, I think. Where there's continuity and safety in discussing some.
I mean, as I thought about during this time, we probably want to only bite it off for 3 to 4 months to see how it goes virtually, and and we can do breakout rooms and assign people to breakout rooms on Zoom. So we could set up, however many Zoom calls we want a week, but it might be as if there is one time or whatever for the groups to meet and people go into breakout rooms. I don't know. I've just been thinking about that since our last time since we met with Gary
Mhm.
and then all this. So I'm open.
I had come real close. I was thinking about, talking with you and Jess about, sending out an email and gee, if you're interested in this type of thing, let me know. I can work on setting it up. Not that I would run each meeting, but because I think, people need to take responsibility, but I'd be
Right.
to set it up. And then you started with these meetings. I thought, well, maybe that's, you can get too much going and then, people don't respond to it
Well,
either. So,
yeah,
so I didn't
and
go
that's,
with it until
go
talking.
ahead. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just waited, and then, last week you indicated, maybe we could have a chance to talk. So, but I'd be willing to put out some feelers, see if people are interested.
Yeah, I think the feelers before sending out any kind of mass communication, doing that kind of checking out what people might think, people, whatever about that, because I mean, there is so much stuff going out to people on all this, and for me, I'm just now feeling inundated. Like, can I read one more thing about another this or that? So how do we get it out there in a way that's going to be helpful for people to get connected?
Well, that's why I brought it up a little bit, just
Yeah.
when you were going around, just to
Right.
plant the seed, if you will.
Yeah. So,
I see it as a catch-22. There's so much going on and so much change, and to add one more thing from a self-care standpoint, I just don't know, but yet it's a time when it's really needed too. So.
yeah, and it intrigues me about how we could do this during this time. I mean, it gives us in some ways more room to think outside the box. Mm-hmm. I've not seen in all the stuff I'm reading out of the Mid-Council Leaders Group on how they're doing peer ministry during this time. I've not heard anything from other pressures. So it'd be interesting to find out with those pressures that we know have that kind of ministry, what they're doing. So
what's working and what's not working.
Right.
Have you had any ideas yourself that you thought about this as far as?
No, other than it, we could try something. And that's about it. I mean, no, it's one of those ideas that come, you just kind of write down and hold on to. I mean, we've been talking about this, but I thought, there was one night last week, I thought, how could this be helpful? And what, I mean, this pressure, the pastors getting along, are not necessarily getting along, but connecting with one another throughout this pressure is harder than other pressures I've been with.
To what extent do you see the pastors in Lincoln being connected? Because
not much at all. No. I mean, none of them are doing anything together for Easter this week. None. They all want to do their own thing. And yeah, I mean, there is not a whole lot of connection. I talked to Val. She is leading. She said, I found my best support among colleagues like, what's his name at Plymouth and other folks, but not among the Prussian pastors in Lincoln. They basically didn't welcome me. Now, I don't know if Lincoln's particular in that way, but I don't know. I mean, it's certainly different in MRV than it is here.
In what way?
Those pastors interact, at least from what I've seen, interact and support and connect with each other in, I think, deeper ways than they do here. That's just a surface observation, but.
Any thoughts as to what underlies that? Or?
Oh, several. I mean, 9 years as an exec who kind of destroys trust all around. That can be helpful. I mean, not helpful.
Yeah.
I think there's something within this presbytery's DNA or whatever you want to call it, that's not a style here. I mean, that MRV, it almost feels like they're all part of a camp. And I mean, I don't mean that literally, but you know what I mean. They have that kind of spirit of hanging out with one another and that kind of thing. And we do some, you know. I think the Lincoln Brown Break group, I mean, it's fun. People are there. But if you looked at how many pastors were not with us on this and have not been with us on this.
Right, yeah. I've noticed.
Yeah, and commission pastors, you know. And I know people have busy schedules and all that. And especially, I mean, all these Zoom meetings. I mean, my calendar is like boom, 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 zoom, 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 zoom. So, yeah, I'm trying to think that through. But I just want to put that, I mean, you've had some of the same thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way to find out what other presbyteries might be doing. Part of it is my time is just, I mean, it's having to understand the financials, all this other stuff that I, you know, wasn't prepared for. So,
you know, I've got that one contact. I think she's down in St. Louis that has been doing some peer ministry.
Oh, yeah.
And last time I talked to her, she'd been doing it. She was new to that position and been doing it for about 4 or 5 months, but that was 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, Giddings Lovejoy, right? Is it Giddings? The presbytery Giddings Lovejoy? Or do you know which one?
I'd have to look back exactly on where. But I think it's the presbytery that St. Louis is a part of.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think that's Giddings Lovejoy.
And
Giddings Lovejoy.
Yeah, I've got some connections out with Monmouth Presbytery out in New Jersey.
You know who would be a good person to call is Corey Schlosser Hall, who is the exec in Northwest Coast Presbytery, which is the Northwest Pacific area of Washington State and all of Central Washington State, which is huge, and Southeast Alaska, which 3, 4 were individual presidents. Then after all the departures in 2012 from the ordination stuff, left. And so they had to form these 3 presbyteries into one. So he's doing a lot of stuff virtually. They started doing this way before all this happened because they had to.
Mm-hmm.
I know Corey pretty well, and he's great to just call and talk to. We're using him to be our kind of guide consultant through the joint presbytery conversations with MRV. Part of what I said about MRV, because in the 2 teams that are coming together to talk about what the future may be, there's a difference between the way that they talk about their presbytery and Homestead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating. And when they brought in their values, because we had everybody bring in, we had each team bring in what they thought the presbytery's kind of core values were. And theirs are a little bit more focused on relationship building and supporting one another, and things like that weren't in ours. I mean, they were down the list, but not at the very top.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So, yeah.
So what's Corey's? It's Corey.
Let me get it. Hold on a second.
Corey with a C?
Yeah, I'll spell for you in just a second and pull it up. Okay. Okay, I'll just email it to you here.
Oh, okay. And it's what's the name of the presbytery?
Northwest Coast.
You know, I also have a contact with Yellowstone Presbytery.
Oh, yeah?
He's the one that's been riding circuit, you know, goes around, he and his wife. Ride circuit, and he's been doing that for a good many years. So he's another one I could contact.
Okay.
What they're doing currently.
Well, I think the Presbytery Yellowstone were a part of that. Remember the program I told you about, the Macedonian ministries?
Mm-hmm.
I think they were one of the first groups in that program.
Oh.
Yellowstone is more on the Montana side, right? I think.
Right, yeah, it is Montana.
Yeah, in fact, in one of the very early days, we had a young adult volunteer site there. Okay, let me post this. So that would be interesting to check on that. If they're the ones that had that Macedonian ministry project and what they're doing.
Okay, you can ask about that.
Okay. Okay, it's going to your Yahoo.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little slow, but I'm sure it'll get there.
Well, the internet's slower. I mean, with everybody on computers now, it's slowing up the the bandwidth, whatever.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's still working.
I know. Hasn't given in yet. Anyways, let's talk again. Do you want to set up another time to meet, or?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
In a way, I mean, in a couple weeks is what I'm thinking, or next week would not be good because, at the pressure level, you don't expect to be really busy during Holy Week because, the churches are all doing things they don't want to talk to you during Holy Week. It's not that way this time. So, but as I look at the next week, yeah, my Wednesdays are often my worst days for this.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got so many scheduled meetings that day. So I could do like the 21st. And we have a 3:30 staff call. So probably like at like at 1.
Yeah, actually.
Whatever works for you.
Because I'm tied up in the morning, have staff meeting at church until 12:30. Well, it probably won't go that long, but 1 o'clock should work.
Okay.
As a Zoom or at the church?
Well, we can do it by phone. I like one-on-one, I prefer to use a phone because I'm staring at computer screens.
But no, yeah, doing it over the airwaves as opposed to
The phone lines?
Well, phone as opposed to being at church.
Oh, meeting in person? No.
Yeah.
Thank-
Okay.
no.
Just making sure. Don't want to be in the wrong place.
No, someone, ecumenical colleague just sent me that we need to meet together and said, let's do a Zoom meeting. I just wrote back, I said, let's just call each other.
Yeah. That works.
Okay, so 1 o'clock.
Bye phone.
All right. Well, hang in there.
Yeah, and you too. I'm sure you're running all over the place, so to speak.
I mean, yeah. I'm not running very far. My apartment's not that big. But what I find I do because it's a lot. I mean, this is a lot. I'm just be honest about it. I'll walk outside, but I also just get in my car and drive.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I'm going anywhere, but but I know my car is a safe environment.
Yeah, yeah.
So just go out and drive, and that helps. So, anyways, well, listen, you take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okie doke. Same to
Okay.
you. Take care of yourself.